Obrigado.
Boa noite. Vamos fazer o debate em inglês. Podem fazer perguntas em português e traduzimos. This is a very special moment for the festival, I think, because this festival was born with the idea of, with two main ideas. The first one being connecting arts, and I think this is something you just showed you was important to you and that you could do in an important way, and connecting arts that would go beyond the traditional division of arts and trying to show marges, arts that are in and works of artists that are in a certain margin. So either in cinema or either in photography, and also spatial margins, and that's what you did, for example. It's really important to us for us to show products that are outside the system. So this is the first one, and the second one is that this festival has this idea that has been completely taken from an artist, a filmmaker, which is Jean-Luc Godard, is that artists might have rights. They have more than everything obligations, and we think that artists have one obligation, is to help conscience emerge in the people, and that's why it's very important for us to show your work and to show that there's a way of connecting arts and statements, and without one or the other influencing negatively on them. So I'd really like to have a big applause for Giard and for what he has done.
Obrigado. Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to, each time I see that film, it's like if for another time those stories have traveled, because if you think about it, there is a few layers. First, my main work is actually to do what you saw in those places, the pastings on the walls, and that contact with the community. And I realized that when I was doing this without documenting it, of course it would have an impact on the place, but then that wouldn't have an echo on our side of the world. And that was the first, that's why I went there, because of the echo I had from those places. So why, what I do there wouldn't have another echo after that. So I started letting, some journalists sometimes document the actions we would have in those places. But the thing is, it would give a documentary about, the team, about me, about the whole making of, but not about the real people who participate in the project. And so that's why I decided to actually make my first film, and so by directing it, I would not be in the film. So that's why there's not a single frame where it's about the making of or how it's done, but it's about the people and how it impacts them and what's their message behind. So I really have the feeling that when that movie is traveling and being screened, and I hope it, it be download or whatever, it will go around the world, that people can see it and that those stories travel, because it's interesting, the relation with images. Some people like to have their face up on their wall, so they'll be famous in the place where they live. But some others have to like their photo at the other side of the world, just so that people know about them. And I think that the whole journey, and there's a lot of details that if you have questions, I'll be pleased to answer, that the whole thing was done 90% illegally, except the frame where you see in the museum.
How the fuck did you make a masterpiece like this? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have the fucking heart that we deserve. This is a fucking masterpiece.
Thank you.
That was Christopher Doyle.
You love his chair. You don't fucking know what you've done to us tonight. Caring person. Keep on working.
Thank you. from a guy like you that did so many films, you know, I can only include it.
This is in the mood for people. This one is in the mood for people. Thank you so much, you fucker.
No, I don't take it personally, no worries. You know, that's why I stay under my initial JR. So actually I don't, you know, my real person don't get hurt. But, so basically as I was saying, the whole thing have been done illegally, and so you never knew if any of this project was possible. So we didn't even know there would be a film about it. So each time I see a screening, it's for me, for me it's all bonus. Each time it spreads, each time it goes on online, because you can even find much more on the internet. And you saw the generic, how it's long at the end, because it's tons of people, that participated, that helped these things happen, that risked their life, or, got some sentences because, this kind of country, it might be legal. In some others, like there, you go to jail for the same, piece of paper on the wall. And but what's interesting in all this is that still it have the same impact for everyone, the power of images. And I guess that in all those places I went to, I realized that some country I would arrive and would expect that all they needed was, food and humanitarian help, which was mostly already there. But then there was this huge need of dignity that I found out anywhere I went, and I tried to go further and further and further and be like, maybe in Sudan they'll tell me I'm stupid and this have nothing to do there. And even there, they got that sense of image. And I think that's the generation where we're in right now, and where images is so important, and when you find a way to reverse that so that the people get empowered by it. Now it's, that project took 2.5 or 3 years, and then we did a movie, and a lot of things have changed in those places. The favela you have seen used to be the most criminal favela in Brazil, because it had no NGO inside, no humanitarian help, and the biggest drug trafficant in there, the Comando Vermelho, is born there. That's why nothing have ever happened in this favela, and now it's completely pacified. And so I believe art can't change the world necessarily. It's not made to change the world, but there is some impact of the art that leads to changes. And the rooftop you've seen in Kenya, much more have been covered every year. So there's a continuity and a link with those people, because even if the work is ephemeral, there's something that sticks in people's head, and I stay there. And that's actually what drove us to continue projects and into different directions. But really, that project was for me the first time I've traveled that far in places where, there's no museum, there's no gallery, where you would think that they wouldn't know how to take this. But actually, to be honest, I've been invited to place my work in big museums in big cities. But the discussion I had in the street when I was doing it was like, hey, who's paying for this? When are they going to take it off? And what is this for? But the discussion I had out there in the street was the whole street, in Liberia, for example, stopping, coming to understand what is happening on their wall. And the question was what is the purpose of this project? The really deepest questions about art you could imagine, I didn't have it on that side of the world, I had it out there. People trying to understand what's the real meaning of it. And so that's why it was really, for me it was moving to change of context and expect something. And of course, in each places, wherever it was in the middle of a post-war situation or a slum or wherever, there was always a place for art. And that's something that we try to forget sometimes.
I think you were lately in Egypt. Was it in Egypt or
Tunisia?
In Tunisia. And did it took a special significance for you to be there and even to show these pictures of individuals in a moment in which individuals were taking back the power after years of despotism? And did you feel the difference there with the other?
Yeah, especially that for that project, which was in March, I didn't do the photo. So in that project, every photo I did it, and then I went back to paste it. But I realized that if you gave the tools to the people, they'll have a much stronger statement. It's made by them completely. So for the Tunisia project, and then it leads to 1,000 most projects, like the post I received. We received photos by mail, and we print it for free and send it back anywhere in the world. And we've sent more than 50,000 in the last 6 months. And when we start sending those, when we announced it, the people in Tunisia submitted hundreds of photos. We're like, what's happening there? We send them back. The next days, all the portraits of the dictator were replaced by people's photos everywhere. And when you think about it, would have been be the same thing, you know, me as a French person going out there and doing it for them? It was their revolution. That was a project that even if I wanted, I couldn't have find the right words to do it. It needed to be done by them, themselves, with their hand. And then after they inspire tons of other people, and in Iran, in other places, people started asking for their photos, and then other people did it to show that they still exist in the Native American in North Dakota, in America. Like the beginning of the week, thousands of people pasted on the border of US and Mexico, but thousands, you know, when I see those kind of pasting, I know what it is to paste that. It doesn't take 2 people to do it. It takes, you know, hundreds of people to do those things. So it brings it, you know, it created that movement where people, when they received their posters, like you did, like gathered and tried to organize action, you know, like the Occupy Wall Street, they did their actions in terms of other people. So it becomes a medium. But when you receive that photo, you can frame it in your house, and you'll be, you know, a collector. You can do a pasting on your school, and you'll be an artist. And you can go and replace the portrait of the president, and you'll be, you'll be an activist. It's in your hand, you know. That poster is just still a piece of paper.
We're going to take, 3 last questions, and then.
Very fast. We're trying to legalize the slum between the river and the sea. And it's very difficult because the daughter of the mayor married the son of the guy who owns a bit of the land.
Okay.
So if we send you the pictures of everybody, would you send us the paper so we wrap it all in the...
Yeah, that's what the project is for. It's named Inside Out. You go on insideoutproject.net, you submit the photos, you receive them 10 days later. With the printer. I'm just a printer guy, guys, you know, I can do that's all I am now.
So I don't know if there are any last questions before we close the session, because there will be a new screening of the movie at midnight that has been rescheduled because there was too much demand. So, okay.
Yep. Yeah, I try to. Yeah, I know. When I can, when it's like I don't even do normally festivals and stuff. I just, when it really happens to be on my way, I do them. But we spend most of the time on the road doing projects constantly. It's really rare we stop for an exhibition even. We do it only when we need it to continue the process. So workshop I'm doing, but improvising. Like we were in Israel and Palestine, you know, during the revolution in beginning of September, and we had trucks printing photos, and then we were doing workshop with kids, with schools, with people. But for now, we search in the movement that it's hard for me to stop. I rather send those thousands of posters, make sure it gets to the country, make sure we get logistics for it. I have the feeling it helps more, and when I have more time, then I start doing workshop in school, because this is so important. But the workshop can even be done by other people than me. That's why also I created Inside Out, so that it spreads, not depending on one person, but of a movement. So anyone, like, there's so much teachers that started it, you know. They one morning they tell their kids, okay, we're gonna do a project, everyone photograph each other. The next day, okay, you get everyone's signature of the parents. The next day they upload it on the website, we send it back 10 days after, and they say, okay, now we're gonna paste it on the wall of the school. And then the next day they're in the local paper of the city, you know, and it's all their thing, it's about their message, and we're not interfering. Spread it. Yes. There was one hand there, whatever. Yeah.
I just want to thank you because I had the opportunity. Okay, because I had the opportunity to work in Inside Out in Lisbon, because these 2 girls did the project here with people smiling, lots of 1,000 people smiling, and it's not in the street yet, but it's gonna be. They finished the project last week. Yeah.
So
very
basically,
nice, and I have to thank you.
Did you uploaded the photo yet or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So we might be printing them right now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're printing. Come on.
Yeah, 139.
No, but it's like a long process, because when we receive them, especially when there's thousands, we have, right now our website is not at the top, and we have some other person doing it. It means that we have to recrop each photo one by one. where on the new website we'll just have to click and print. But it's like a process that we're doing. You have to imagine in New York we have a space that someone gave us that we're printing photos every day. And every morning I wake up, I go down, and I see faces from around the world. Then we fold them, put them in an envelope, put the name, send them. And every day. And a lot of them get lost. I mean, by people, because they just, receive them. They don't know if they're going to paste it. They're afraid of getting arrested or whatever. But the others start doing it and then inspire them. And it's funny how, it took a couple of weeks to start, and then you see it growing. And the more it continues, the more the actions are bigger. I used to hear, we're 10 people doing it. Now you're telling me about thousands. That's what happened in Juarez, in Mexico, and that's what I keep seeing. So I'm like, let me push it a bit further. It's not even a year, and there's already so much in the street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I just would like to say that tomorrow there will be a performance of another artist that is trying to raise a kind of global consciousness, which is Kenan, who's here. And
Wait. Okay, that's the flyer for Kenan tomorrow. The guy gave me, a couple of euro so I have to do the speech about the concert. I'm sorry, that's how I make my living. So tomorrow, this Kenan Somalian artist, let me take my glasses off, which is great, but that's personal. You don't have to listen to it. And he's doing his concert at 10 o'clock, and it's actually in that space here.
exactly.
So, which is really good vibe already. And so that at least he can take it from me, Like I like to help artists if I can. And what it says, so it's pink on. I'm sure it says he's a great guy, and he did that song, Exactly. You know the old school stuff. I was going to say about the World Cup song, but that's the real shit, That's the real shit that I've been doing. So tomorrow he's going to do a performance, and trust me, you don't see that every day. So.
Okay.
To my friend Kenan, who's right there. Lots of joke, but lots of love.